Okay, g'day everybody. It's Mike here from Advanced Business Abilities, and I'm with Kaz, Makepeace
Hey,
from Why Travel Blog.
hey everyone, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, welcome. This is a series of labs we're
Yeah,
running, and it's all about really gaining confidence and control over your life and making sure that things are working the way you want them to in 2016. So, how you going, Kaz?
I'm good. I'm having a great start to 2016. So I think this is the year where we help people focus this year on being more confident, and it's their year to take control and get that confidence back. So I'm starting the year great with a lot more confidence than last year.
Fantastic. Well done.
Yeah,
Yeah, well done.
yeah.
That's exciting. Yeah, that's very, very good. So we're talking today about keeping your eye on your own game. What a topic.
Great topic. And I
What's,
think I think it's one that everyone struggles with, and I wrote about it in my email newsletter this week, and I got a lot of responses back,
cool.
people telling me of how they struggle with it as well. So I think it's a great thing for us to chat about today.
Fantastic. So look, what's your take on it? How do you view it?
Yeah, well, I think I look back on the wise words of my mother, Maz's wisdom, and going to, when we were little at school, we had like a sports carnival, and there were running races against everyone, and it wasn't really my thing. I didn't like it, but my mum would always say to me, look, whatever you do, just keep your eyes forward. Don't turn to the side and see where the people you're racing against are, because if you do that, you're going to slow down. And so I think that's really wise advice, and I'm sure lots of us heard the same, similar from our parents. The minute you're on your journey and your race, and you're looking forward, but the minute you turn to the side, you slow yourself down, because that's when you start seeing what other people are doing and comparing yourself, and either noticing how much better they are than you or how much better you are than them. And either of those two things, I think, are dangerous and not good for us.
Yeah, I agree. I agree 100%. To me, it's really interesting because sometimes it's actually a good thing to look sideways.
Yeah.
And for me, I actually reserve that as much as I'm able to. I'm certainly not perfect at it, but I reserve that for times. There's two times where I think it's really valuable to do that. One of those times is when I'm doing market research. If you're at a research stage, look, it's really important to go and check out what others are doing, because that'll tell you how to differentiate yourself. So
Absolutely.
there is a time and a place for this. We're certainly not saying never, ever, ever look sideways, because that's not realistic. The other time that I do it, and this is just for me personally, I think you might relate, is I do it when I'm looking for content ideas. I'll look at what other people are doing. I'll look at other people in my niche. I'll look at other people in other niches and going, right, what are they creating that other people are really liking and sharing a lot? What's interesting people? So there is times where it's valuable to look sideways and to check over your shoulder and have a look at what other people are doing. Yeah, go ahead. Did you have a say?
I mean, I do the same, and I look at it, and I think it all depends about having the ability to be an observer, which is what we talk about a lot, and understand what you're doing and the purpose of it is, so that when you go into that mode, you are just collecting data.
Yes.
And you're looking for a way to take on information and that you can use for yourself. You're not going to get in this mindset where you're doing it and then all of a sudden you lose control by going, oh, yeah, but look at what they're doing. Look how many comments they're getting. Look how many shares. I'm really actually quite crap at this.
Yes, it's the emotional response that occurs that is the real problem. If you're able to look sideways and go, just gather the data and go, okay, that's what's going on right now. Here's my finish line. Because really, the other way we could have talked about this, instead of keeping your eye on your own game, it's actually about crossing your own finish lines. It's about setting a line in the sand for yourself and saying, okay, I'm going to do that. I'm going to get to that point. And whether or not you do that is really the only objective. it doesn't matter whether someone else gets there faster or quicker or with more likes or with more friends or with more comments on their blog post. All that matters is, did you do what you said you would do? And I really love the story you told there, because it actually embodies, we've talked a lot about the 3 invisible muscles that every single individual has. We all possess these. And they are just like physical muscles. So that when you use them and you develop them and you make them work, they get stronger, they get bigger, you become more able to use them, right? But they're invisible. They're not a physical, tangible thing. And keeping your eye on your own game is actually really about gaining a new level of mastery over these 3 visible muscles. So should we talk a little bit about what those are for everybody? Because to me, that's really fundamental. Yeah. Does that sound good?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Because that's, they're the muscles everyone's always working on developing, but it's been a big focus of my life for some time, and in particular with the work that we've been doing. And I know if I just continue to work on building those muscles, everything else in my life falls into place. So there's no secret remedy or formula to follow.
Yep.
My focus is building those muscles. So yeah, I think we can chat about that and be really helpful.
Yeah, awesome. So and in building those muscles, we do a lot with that and give systems and steps to take in order to really build those muscles quickly in the Confidence Igniter program. For right now, let's just talk a little bit about what these 3 muscles are, because to me, these are the fundamentals of being able to create in your life, right? So one of the muscles, and these aren't in any particular order of priority in any way, but one of the muscles is a muscle called awareness. Yeah. So awareness is about being able to be aware of yourself, of others, of what's going on in your environment. It's awareness. We have this ability to almost move outside of ourselves and observe ourselves. Is that, can you relate? You can relate to that, yeah? What's your experience?
Oh, absolutely.
What's your experience?
Yeah, absolutely. Becoming the observer. And when I first heard about this, I think it was from Eckhart Tolle many years ago, and I thought, what is he talking about? That doesn't make sense to me. But then I started meditation and started practicing this, and it's almost like you're removing yourself from yourself and stepping back and being like a scientist, a curious observer, and being very aware of how you're thinking, what you're doing, and taking away all judgment of that, and instead saying, oh, well, isn't that interesting that I just said that? I wonder where that comes from, and just being curious about it rather than judgmental and critical.
Yeah, and in those moments where you do look sideways in order to gather data, being able to be an observer of yourself and therefore also an observer of your own emotions, like your own emotional reaction, there's actually a lot of data to be gathered just in that.
Oh, yeah.
And the awareness is a muscle that you can continue to grow. And the more awareness you have, there's a lot of value in that. Another invisible muscle that we have that really influences this is intention. You have an intention, and your clarity of intention will determine how effortless it is for you to get something done. Like I know that you've had the experience. I'm pretty sure everybody watching this video will be able to relate. In life, there are certain times where I guarantee you've had things that you've made a decision about. You have decided that this is going to happen. And in that moment, you may not have had any idea the way it was going to happen, how you were going to get that to occur. And you know that, like, with every single cell of your body, you made the decision that that was going to happen. You were going to create it. You were going to make it happen.
Yep.
That's intention. And intention's different from force. It's not force. It's not about going out and working really hard every single day and looking at your goals every day and making sure that you demand that. No, it's not about that. It's about setting an intention and then actually letting it go and just allowing it to happen.
Yeah, I think that's a really important part of it, is just letting it go. And that's what I've really learnt. And when I, with that awareness, look back on my life and thought, well, where did I see this working for me? And for me, it was, I've had a lifetime of travel experiences, and the travel came to me in many different ways effortlessly. Even though in my mind I didn't have the money, I couldn't do it because of all these reasons, my intention was very clear. I am going to spend my life having some kind of travel lifestyle. And that has been my life for nearly 20 years. and there was no working hard, there was no pushing. It was just, this is my intention, and allowing it to happen.
Yeah, this is what's going to occur. This is what's going to be.
Yeah, it's like I'm the boss, and this is what I'm doing with my life. And so get working.
you're the queen sitting on the throne making the decision. And this is what's
queen, what she wants.
Yeah.
And so there are some parts of our life where that is, like, it was easy for me for travel, but in other areas when I struggled. So why do you think that is, that it can be easy in certain aspects of your life, but in other areas you struggle? Why can't we, if we know how it works in one aspect, why can't we transfer that to another?
Well, a lot of it, in my opinion, and based on my experience of coaching people for the last 10 years in this subject, a lot of it comes down to choice and the perception of choice that you approach a subject with. Now, for you on the subject of travel, it was pretty effortless to just, like, the choice was there. There was nothing else. It was like, well, that's what's going to happen. That's what's going on. That this is the choice I've made. Now, what am I going to do in order to support that to occur? Is that real to you? It was that intense.
Yeah.
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 Where we come unstuck, and this happens for so many people, is that we come unstuck when we give ourselves a perception that we don't have a choice. So for a lot of people, they'll set a goal, and they then approach that goal through the viewpoint that there's no other choice. And there is an enormous amount of information and data and detail, a lot of which we go through in the Confidence Igniter, that helps someone to see the ways that they're giving themselves this perception of having no choice. And I'd love to talk about it right now. And I also know that we do not have, that there is not enough time in a half-hour Blabs session to give that information justice, like to really deliver it in a way that will help people to thoroughly understand it. So, if we sort of talked about it now, we'd actually be doing a disservice to everybody. The thing for me is just really be aware of the fact that you always have choice. In every single moment, there are choices available to you. And it is about making a choice and being intentional with that choice. And then the next part of that is really ensuring that you maintain a perception that you have choice. You as the queen on the throne, like we said a minute ago, you are the queen. You always, always, always have choice. There's never a moment where a queen does not have choice. There's never a moment where a king does not have choice. And the key is being able to use your mind as a tool to be able to see what the choices are that are available to you. Now, when we're in choice, what also happens is we have a perception that we're free, we're making choices for ourselves. We therefore actually feel better about ourselves as well. It doesn't create a feeling of anxiousness or resentment, or if you were in jail, you'd probably resent the prison guards. Right. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. They're the ones holding you captive. So
and there's loads of ways that I've observed people give themselves the perception that they actually don't have a choice, and that doesn't feel very nice. It creates a burden and makes life a problem.
And that essentially then you're becoming the prison guard of yourself because you're imprisoning yourself.
That happens a lot.
Yeah.
And it takes a fair bit of awareness to actually be able to see that that's happening. 10 years ago, if somebody said that to me, I would have gone, what are you talking about? Come on.
Yeah.
You're pulling my leg. Like, this is ridiculous. It definitely happens. And like I say, for 10 years now, I've coached people to help them to not do that anymore to themselves in their own lives. What's involved in that is raising their level of awareness and raising their intention. So these 3 invisible muscles, and we've covered 2 of them so far, they really feature strongly in all the work and research that my team and I have done over the last 10 years. Like, this is really, really important stuff. The third muscle, the third invisible muscle that you have, and this muscle is the only muscle that is limited in availability.
Right.
Because you only have so much of it. Like, you can't build it and make more of it.
Right.
And so the muscle is actually your ability to use this one, and this one's called attention.
Right.
So you see the reason it's limited, because you only have a certain amount of attention. In every moment, you have 100% of your attention, and if you start dividing that attention, well, you're not giving your full attention to something. It's like when you're talking with someone. If you and I were doing this right now, and yet I had my attention over here and was looking at this bit of paper and attempting to understand what it was saying to me, it's like, okay, that's not working, is it?
Mike, come back.
So the thing is, when you're keeping your eye in your own game, well, what are you doing with your attention?
Right.
And so how intentional are you with where you're giving your attention to? And how aware are you of what might be distracting you, grabbing your attention and bringing it somewhere else? Or all of a sudden you get distracted by bright, shiny lights over here and silver, flashy objects or gold medallions over
Facebook
there.
Notifications.
Oh, how annoying and frustrating has that been the last couple of days? If anybody on here knows a way to stop Facebook from giving me a notification on my computer without Facebook even being open, I would love to know. Please email me.
Yeah.
Mike.Irving@advancedbusinessabilities.com. It's insane. So,
it's taking away our attention, and we don't like it because we're intent on our own game.
Yeah. And so these 3 muscles, and again, attention is the one that is limited. The strength or the development of that muscle is actually the development of your ability to maintain your attention where you would like it to, which of course involves intention and awareness.
Right.
Now, when those three muscles are really developed, and you are very intentional and you're aware of where you're placing your attention, well, then it actually becomes a lot easier to maintain your focus and maintain your attention on the objective or the line in the sand that you've drawn. Is that real to you?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. And I'm noticing it more and more. I can much more quickly pull myself back in and say, like, for example, if I was going data collecting, sorry, there's a bit of feedback. If I was going data collecting and I know that was my intention, and then I start to drift to compare myself.
Yep.
I'm very good now at saying, whoa, hang on a minute. What you're doing now is actually pulling yourself down. You're comparing what other people are doing in relation to you. Well, that's not your intention. That's not your game. That's not your focus. And then I have kind of a little voice now I've trained to pop up and say, okay, Caroline, it's okay. You're safe. This is whatever they're doing is not in relation to you. You have your own path, your own purpose, and where you're going is the path for you. You don't have to worry about what they're doing. It doesn't mean that you're missing out or losing or going slower or faster. You're just on a different journey.
Yeah.
And that's what comes up for me every time now, but it's taken time for me to have that awareness and that intention and be aware of where my attention's going and what path it's actually pulling me along that I'm not in control of.
Yeah, it's how we going. All right. The thing that's jumping into my mind at the moment, based on what you just said, is I think it's happens for a lot of people. Oh, we've got some likes happening. Show us the love, guys. If you like what we're talking
thank you.
do the taps. Yeah, thanks.
I think that's what you do, is it?
Yeah, probably. I don't know.
Don't forget to tweet it out too if you want to, the little birdie.
Yeah, that'd be great. If this is valuable to you, please share it, tweet it out. We want people to know about this stuff. The thing that happens for, I think, a lot of people when they do get caught or stuck looking sideways instead of keeping their eye on their own game is that they actually get sucked into a concept that I'll say is really a subjective concept. And it's the idea of winning. It's a fascinating thing because winning is subjective to me. There's not a specific finish line that you can say, okay, I'm going to take these steps and I'm going to cross this finish line when I take these steps. And the reason that it's not that way is because, well, if you're wanting to win, that means you're competing against somebody. And you have got no idea what they're going to do or what finish line they're going to cross.
Or where they're coming from even.
Correct. So we get sucked into this subjective goal called wanting to win. Now, if you go and talk to people who go and participate in the Olympics, very few of them say, yep, I'm going to win gold. That's not what their objective is. Their objective's really clear, and that is if they're a 50-meter sprinter, I'm going to achieve my personal best, which will be this. Right. Now, if I do that...
I was just about to mention that to you.
Go ahead.
I was just about to say to you, what about Olympic runners? Are they intending to beat people, or are they intending to do their personal best? And then you said it.
That's it. That's their objective. The way they train is they go, okay, I got 4 years, and in 4 years I want to take 4 seconds off my time, or 3 seconds off my time, or 2.5 seconds off my time. They set a really objective target. And then they implement a training program to go and start to wipe time off of their finish time, off their personal best.
Which is essentially how they win.
Well, winning is like a result. Getting a gold medal is the result of going and achieving this
the fastest time.
Going and achieving this clear objective called a personal best, which is a very clear. See, an objective goal. There's a test that you can run to determine whether or not your goals are subjective or objective. And a simple test is if you state your goal to a total stranger, are they going to understand and duplicate what you meant?
Right. And we spoke about this on last Blabs. So if people are looking for more in depth on this, make sure you go over and listen to that one too.
100%. And so these things all tie in, like all these things really influence and have an impact on the way we feel about ourselves and the confidence that we approach things with. So, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I agree that it's about not winning, but essentially being better than who you were yesterday, perhaps. That's where the focus then becomes, because you've got a true, accurate assessment of where you come from, where you're going, and how you've grown. Yeah. Whereas you can't measure that based upon what someone else is doing.
Yeah. Now, look, I'm certainly not sitting here and saying, "Oh, don't worry about winning," or winning's. There's lots of people out there that's their primary objective is to win. Now, what I think happens is that a lot of people, and myself included, don't inspect whether or not that is a worthwhile objective to set.
Mm-hmm.
Because the goal to win very quickly can become the goal to win at all cost.
Right.
And then all of a sudden,
and to beat everyone else at all costs.
Sure. And then all of a sudden, it's really easy to operate totally out of your own integrity, like outside your own integrity, and start to do things or make decisions because you want to win. And that doesn't work. That doesn't support you. It doesn't help you. It doesn't, yeah. You know, winning is...
Because then
Yep, go ahead.
Your focus then is not on your game then, is it? It's on pulling down the person beside you.
Exactly. That's exactly right.
Yeah.
It's far more advantageous for you to set your own finish line, your own line in the sand, make an agreement with yourself, and go and cross that line.
Mm-hmm.
And then you might, if you do that thing again, you might decide to set a different line in the sand. Sorry, you had a question you were thinking of there.
Yeah, for people who are first, hearing this for the first time and maybe very consumed with comparing themselves to other people and losing focus and getting lost in all of that, what's a first step for them to help them? Because it's so easy to get lost in the Facebook notifications, to go and research what other one's doing for your own information, but then get pulled into this, oh, they're doing so much better than me. What's a first simple step that they can take to help them develop these muscles? Yeah,
awesome. So first simple step, decide what is the line in the sand that you're going to cross. That's going to sound really simple, and it is. It is that simple. Decide what steps you're going to take. Decide the finish line that you will cross. Make an agreement with yourself to cross that finish line, and then begin to take the steps to cross it. So that by doing that, that will require that you use these three invisible muscles. Mm-hmm. And just like physical muscles, that's what we want, because when you use them, they build. When you don't use them, and people who don't use them, the way that they tend to talk is, for example, life is something that happens to them. Mm-hmm. People that use those muscles, they cause their life to happen. They create their life to happen. They create things in their life to happen. Does that make sense to you? Is that real to you?
Yeah. Yeah, they're very in control because they know where they're heading. They know what to do to get there. They're focused with intention and awareness, and they know that if they start to move off the path, they're aware of that and they're in control and can move them back to their finish line.
Yep. So.
And that's really how simple it is.
It is.
There's no secret formula, and I think, and this is the problem with so many people not feeling confident and out of control and feeling at effect in life, is that they don't believe they can do it themselves. They don't believe they have these muscles they can develop. So they're always searching for the next guru or the next person out there to lead them by the hand and show them how to do it, when really develop these muscles and everything changes for you. You get back on the throne. Yeah.
Now let's be clear about, if you're gonna set a line in the sand for you to cross, if right now you're making $30,000 or $40,000 a year, and you set a line in the sand to cross called make $1 million in a year, well, come on, that's not.
It's a giant leap.
It's not something that you can take a series of steps today and achieve that or cross that finish line today.
Right.
Now, I'm not saying that there's no way that could happen. If you were in the United States and you played the Powerball last night, you could be a billionaire right now. It's highly unlikely. So make some lines in the sand for yourself that you can cross today and go and cross them. And if you chose to, you could set a line in the sand for yourself that you wanted to cross maybe 6 months from now. and then make sure that you actually bring that back to, okay, if I'd like to cross that line, what lines am I to cross today in order to move closer?
Right. So it's a series of finish lines.
It is.
That you're moving through.
That's right. It's no different to if you're standing on the ground floor of a building and you want to go to level 1. There's no lift in this particular building for my analogy to work, so work with me here. If you want to go to level 1, well, there's a series of stairs for you to climb. So you put one foot on a stair and push up, put the next foot and push up. If you're really fit, you might go 2 at a time or 3 at a time, but there's a series of steps to move up to that stair. And if you just take all those steps, you're going to do it.
Yeah. That's right. It reminds me back to running. But I remember vividly once in the US running along the beach. I think it was in San Diego or somewhere down there. And I knew I wanted to get down to the next pier, which was really far away. And I'm running and looking at that and thinking, there's no way I'm going to get to that pier, because I wasn't feeling very fit at the time. And along the way to the pier were a series of lifeguard towers. So I said, okay, I'm just going to get to the next lifeguard tower. So when I got there, okay, I'm going to go for the next lifeguard tower and see how I go and reassess once I get there. And then I went to the next one. Eventually I got to the pier and I made the entire run by taking those smaller steps. Now, if I just continued focusing on that pier that was so far away, I would have quit because it would have seemed too far for me to do.
So therefore, in doing that, you kept your eye on your own game.
Yeah.
If you'd been watching everybody else who was, maybe running past you, or if you'd watched other people who'd stopped, you could have easily gone, oh, they've stopped, oh, I'll stop too. That'll be nice.
Yes. I think I've done that before.
Sure, me too.
I've got permission to stop now.
Yeah, absolutely. So cross your own finish lines, keep your eye on your own game, use those 3 invisible muscles, and that's going to make it a lot easier for you to do that. So look, we go into a lot more detail about really specific things that you can do to build those 3 muscles and to more effortlessly keep your eye on your own game in our Confidence Igniter program, which is coming out later this year. I hope you've enjoyed this Blab. If you like it, share it out, give us props, and thanks for tuning in and thanks for joining me, Kaz.
Cool. Yeah, my pleasure, Mike. And everyone, you can pop on over to confidenceigniter.com and connect with us there so that we've got some free confidence, what would you call them, emails that help, tasks that help you build your confidence. So go over and grab that.
Awesome.
Thanks, Mike. We'll see you next week. We're blabbing again next week.
Yeah, absolutely. Tune in next Thursday morning. I think it's going to be next Thursday morning. Yeah, looking forward to it. Thanks, guys.
No, we're early. We're early next week.
That's right, we're on Monday, aren't we?
Because we're both going to be away. Yeah, so we're on Monday.
Awesome.
So we'll see you on Monday.
Monday morning, 4 days away, 5 days away. Thanks, guys.
Yeah. Make sure you're following us so you don't miss out. Awesome. Thanks, everyone.
See you, Kaz.
Bye.
Bye.
See you, Mike. Bye.